I have to share my God winks with you. This weekend, my sister Louise went home to be with the Lord. And while her daughter and I were sitting beside her bed, waiting for her final breath, I asked her daughter, Cynthia, if it would be a good idea if we put the song and the music that Louise had written, called A Savior is Born, to her ear and let her hear her own voice with her husband and her friend Lois singing. And Cynthia said, I think it would be great. So we put the words and the music to Louise's ear and let her hear her own voice. And after it was over, I let her hear the whole song in its entirety. And I said to her afterward, I said, Lou, go on to be with Jesus. He's waiting for you. I said, and so is Ray. And I said, you guys can sing all you want to. I said, just go on. Jesus is waiting. And I'm coming too, and we're all going to be fine. And we'll see you again. So go on to be with Jesus. And then the next morning, who would call me but the very person who was singing in that song, Lois? And I had a chance to tell Lois that I had let her song, sung with Ray and Louise, be in Louise's ear and be the last song that she heard. So that was just a God wink right there. And I shared that with Cynthia, and she agreed. And then later on that day, my niece Linda sent a picture of Louise with her favorite shirt. And I sent that picture to Cynthia, and she texted me back and said, Aunt Peggy, that is the same shirt that she's going home with. And that's her homegoing shirt. So we felt like that was another God wink. And then later on, the next day, actually, we went to the funeral home to view Louise's body. And I was sad and I was crying on the way. And I looked down at my jeans, and there on my jeans was a little feather, small little feather, white feather. And I said, God, I know. I picked it up and held it in my hand. And I said, God, I know that you have got me and Louise, and you've got us, and you're watching over us, and all is well. And you're just orchestrating everything this weekend, and it's in your control. And I was so uplifted by that little feather that he dropped on my pants, and I don't know how it got there. I got in the funeral home, and I was talking with Cynthia and the family, and Cynthia walked over me, and she was going to give me a hug, and she looked over, she said, did you put that there? And I said, what? She said, that. And it was on my lapel of my coat. And it was a little feather, about 3 inches long, beautiful white feather. And it was attached to my lapel as if I had taped it there or pinned it there. And I said, I did not put that there, I promise. I don't know anything about that. I don't know where it came from. And her husband, Rod, said to me, I know that was not there when you walked in, because I would have seen it. And so everybody there was just going like, where in the world did that come from? And we knew that it was a God wink. And so I sent Cynthia a picture of the feather on my knee and the feather on my lapel. And I reminded her in the text, I said, honey, God is really winking at us, and he is really talking to us. I said, he's trying to encourage us, and this is special for us. I said, remember Lois's phone call? I said, remember the picture from Linda of her homegoing shirt? I said, remember the feather on my jeans, and remember the feather on my lapel? And as soon as I sent the text, I got another text from Cynthia, and she said, and guess who just called me? The same Lois Mobley that had called me the day after Louise's passing. So I just knew that God was really winking at us. So Monday morning, we went to the visitation and had the service. And Pastor Chris Jarman gave the anointed sermon. And this song that was sung, it was absolutely amazing. And it was anointed as well. And you won't believe what the sermon was about. It was about Psalm 91, and the first few verses in Psalm 91, how God will cover us with his feathers and protect us. And we can put our trust in him because he covers us with his feathers. And he had the illustration of a mother duck who was in danger of her little ducklings being attacked by a hawk, and she covered her little ducklings with her whole wings. And he made the illustration of how God would cover us with his wings, and how he spread out his wings on the cross to give us life eternal if we just put our trust in him. But it was an awesome, awesome sermon. But it was about Psalm 91, the feathers. And we just felt like that was the greatest God wink. And while I was on the way, after the sermon, the service was over. We were waiting to go to the cemetery. My daughter ran over to my car, and Tom rolled the window down, and she said, Mom, did you pay attention to the sermon? It was about feathers in Psalm 91. I said, yes, I did. She said, I'm just blown away with this, Mom. And so I was just thrilled that other people can recognize God winks. And I hope we're never too busy and we're so sidetracked that we don't get God's voice when he's trying to speak to us. He's just trying to get our attention. And so I'm just so thankful that my family and my friends who know our feather stories will be willing to listen and to know that God is speaking to us, and know that these are not just coincidences, that it truly is the voice of God, and his ears and his eyes. He's always attentive to his children. And so after we left the cemetery, and I was with my nephews and my nieces that had spent the weekend with me, and the next morning when they left, my nephew, Danny, handed me a pen, a ballpoint pen. He said, Aunt Peggy, I want you to have this. And he had given me a pen, and it said Psalm 91:2, in him I trust. So, and a little bit later, I was putting up the toaster from the weekend, and I put the toaster away, and I looked on the countertop this morning, and there was another feather. It's like God is just the grand finale. And I texted all of this to Pastor Chris, and I just let him know that all these pictures and all these God winks that God had given us, that he truly was picked to do this service, and that he had ministered to our family in a very special way. And I appreciate his being attentive to the voice of the Lord and letting God give him the very message that our family needed. And I thank God that you would listen to this video, and that I hope you will be encouraged by it. And I hope also that God winks at you in ways that you know that it's God's voice. And I hope that you will be listening and expecting his voice, because he truly does want to talk to us. And those of you that know me very well at all know my feather stories. And in case you don't, you're more than welcome to give me a call, and I'll be happy to share my feather stories with you. And I appreciate you watching. And sorry this video is a little longer, but it was quite a few God winks, and I'm sure I probably left one or two out. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed it, and may God bless you.